All right, this is a 22-foot sea skiff that I have. It's a Chris Craft. Today we're going to start sanding down the hull and some of the varnish on the inside and get a new coat of paint and a new coat of varnish on here and get it ready for the season. So we're going to go ahead and start that process, and let's go walk around the boat. As you can see, the wood's in good shape. It just needs to be sanded down. The varnish is lifting in some areas, so that needs to be taken care of. And then the paint's kind of cracked, so we're just going to go ahead and start sanding it down and then use some nice products on it and bring it back to showroom condition. There's some close-ups of the varnish lifting, just a little before and afters that I can do. You can see on the inside, we'll have to sand that right down. Kind of start from scratch there. It's just at that stage where instead of scuffing it and getting another coat on, some of this is going to have to come right off and then try to blend it all together. But all in all, we should be able to do this in a couple days, hopefully, the sanding and maybe a couple days of finishing. Tried sanding the varnish off, especially on this doghouse here. Spent about an hour on the top side, and then afterward just decided to scrape off the varnish because there's so much clear coat, poly and varnish on here. Gums up the paper, it's hard to get off. So we're just scraping it, and we'll go ahead and scrape any of those surfaces that are delaminating, sand them, then we'll go ahead and refinish them. But this is where we're at right now, a little bit time consuming. It's the best way to do it. We have the first phase done now. Everything's been scraped. That was at that stage where it was kind of delaminating and it wasn't where you could just scuff it and put it back on or put a new coat of urethane on. So what we're at now, we scraped it all down, and you can see there's little deposits of the old varnish left over, and then just heaps on the floor of, it looks like we were peeling carrots. So what we're going to do next, we're just going to go ahead and we're going to sand this with about 100 grit and then work our way down to a 220. And then after that, we're going to go ahead and put a sealer on here. Then we're going to put a mahogany stain, and then we'll start the process of putting coats of urethane clear on. And then this part of the boat will be refinished. Inside, where we can see the ribs, we're just going to scuff that and knock off anything loose, and then there's going to be no stain there because you can kind of see the difference in the color, and I like that contrast. And then these are actually in pretty good shape, so we're just going to scuff these and put another coat of poly on them. Obviously we'll paint the floors, I'll paint the engine, and then we should be pretty close. I'm obviously going to paint the hull too, but let's focus on that urethane. We're hoping to get it in the water by the weekend, so we'll see if we can knock it out in the next 4 days. Here's some of that wood I pulled out of the scrap bin. So this is all mahogany. I've got a couple stacks of just random wood that these are cut-offs from a sawmill, and they just wanted to get rid of them. So I've got a bunch of little pieces, and they're actually quite usable. So I'm gonna run them through the table saw, clean them up a little bit, and make some patchwork. All right, it's day number 3 here. And Katie's in here sanding it down. We pretty much have everything sanded or scuffed. Some of the stuff we're just scuffing. Some of these A surfaces that are the stuff you see right on top, we took right down. And pretty much we're there. I mean, this is day number 3, so it's kind of what we expected. All the parts are looking good. I made a couple parts here just because there's a little split there, and I had some mahogany laying around. I have the doghouse out here. So what I did was I did a couple stain samples here and then put some urethane on it to try to, actually I'm using varnish, but you can see the different colors. So we got a couple stains that are similar. So there's 3 different samples on here. And we ended up going with this Minwax gun stock because it matches the seats and everything, the kind of golden hue that it had. Reddish golden hue. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to put that on the doghouse, and we're going to see how it all looks and how it all blends together. And then after that, we'll go ahead and just finish the rest of the sanding and put the products on. All right, we have it all sanded down, worked our way down to 220. Some of the surfaces, like these benches, are scuffed, and other things are sanded all the way down. Pretty much things that were totally delaminated with the urethane or varnish came right off. So we went blonde with a lot of this wood, or pretty close to, and we have a stain that kind of matches, so let's go ahead and put that on. All right, we're putting the stain on right now. And we're using a Minwax stain. I actually like a gel stain for this. They didn't have the gel stain in the color that I wanted, and I didn't want to order and wait to get a stain that matched. And then even if I ordered, I wouldn't know if it would match till I did some test samples. This matches what was already there. And the gel stain, you can really blend stuff in, and this is a liquid stain, oil stain. So we're going to just try to do the best we can. It's actually looking really good. That's why we went blonde with all those top surfaces, so it blend in really well. And looking forward to getting some varnish on next. Nice job, Katie. All right, got the stain on, and it actually blended really well with the seats. So like I said, with the seats, we left some of the old finish on there just to save a little bit of time sanding, since we're trying to get this done pretty quick. But it looks okay. Maybe I'll add a little bit more stain there. Tried to float the stain on top of the old finish to try to blend it all in. And I think once the varnish is on there, it'll blend even better. Over there, you can see like there's another area I'll hit with a little bit of stain. So just let that stain soak in, and then I'll keep hitting those areas and try to get it to blend better. But all in all, it looks really great. Obviously, the areas we took down to raw wood look absolutely the best, because that's what's gonna blend the best. There's actually a little dark spot right here, but we'll see if I can't do something with that in a minute. So yeah, just kind of go along and look for any little areas that look a little blotchy and try to blend them in. But we're not trying to make a showboat here. This is something we use, so just trying to refresh it. But let's keep working. Just want to show where we're at. Finally got some good weather, so we got the boat out of the barn, which is nice because we're letting this clear bake, and it makes it a lot easier to sand, less time in between coats. So we're about to put the 4th coat on. We sanded it with a 220 to smooth stuff out, get any dust out of it, and we'll tack rag it off, and we'll go ahead and put the last coat on here and keep you posted when we do that. Got all the parts out here, so be excited to put this back together tomorrow. All right, we got the 4th coat of varnish on, and everything seems to be flowing out nice. I don't think that, just tripped over a sander. I don't think we're gonna be putting another coat on just because we want to get it in the water, and we can always add another coat later. But all in all, I'm pretty happy with it. Got a nice shine. And we're gonna move on to the bottom side of the hull, start painting this. So we're gonna sand this tonight after that dries. We'll let it dry for a few hours, and then we'll go on to that. But just want to show where we're at. All right, we just sanded the entire hull. I got some friends over here, and me and Katie and Nikki and Mish here, we got it all sanded. They call this fairing the hull. I don't know if it's really fairing since it's a lap straight boat, but we sanded it down. We leveled anything out that looked funky, and anything that was flaky came off. So we're gonna go ahead and put the white on next. Nice long strokes, come on.
Do you have to put primer on this before?
Probably ideally, but there's plenty of paint on there, so.
Maybe the primer.
All right, finally finished up this 57 Chris Craft. We got all the poly on here, got it all put back together. Floors are painted, engines are running nice. Oh. So here's the after, I guess. I already did the before. Everything turned out awesome except for the paint on the hull. We went ahead and quickly scuffed it, and then I put down Interlux paint on here. It's an enamel, and I actually paint cars professionally. I don't really brush anything on. I put it on, stroked it out, everything looked great, and then I came back in the morning, it had run, and it was still like gooey even 2 days later. So I don't know if it's the humidity, I didn't mix the bucket up enough, user error, but what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna scuff that hull down, and I'm gonna repaint it again. It's all right, mistakes happen, so it's not a big deal, just a little frustrating. But all in all, the boat turned out really nice. Once I have this hull done, I'll put a red stripe along the bottom, and I put that bronze copper anti-fouling paint, and then that red stripe will just blend those strokes in together. And yeah, the boat will look done. The boat will be done, I guess. I'm gonna go ahead and throw the cushions on. I said I'd have this in the water by Memorial Day. Just rinsed it off because it was all dusty. And I'm gonna go take it for a little rip. Like I said, it's not perfect, but it's definitely a usable boat that looks respectable out on the water. I would say it turned out pretty nice.